to a warning about a Social Security scam that tries to convince beneficiaries that they are under investigation for tax fraud. The Social Security Administration says that the letter appears to come from
You spent your entire working life paying into Social Security, every paycheck, every year, decade after decade, with the reasonable expectation that the money would be there when you needed it. And now, right at the moment you are finally collecting, a criminal sitting at a desk somewhere is dialing your number and trying to take it from you. Social Security scams have become one of the most pervasive, most financially devastating fraud problems in the country, and they are getting more sophisticated every single year. Today, we are breaking down exactly how these scams work, who is running them, and what you need to do right now to make sure your benefits stay where they belong. Number 1 is the most important thing on this list. Let us get into it. Number 10, the scale of the problem. Before we get into the mechanics of individual scams, it is worth understanding just how big this problem actually is, because most people have no idea. According to the Federal Trade Commission, Social Security impersonation scams cost Americans hundreds of millions of dollars every single year. The FTC has consistently ranked government impersonation as one of the top fraud categories reported by consumers, and Social Security specifically sits at or near the top of that list. In 2023 alone, people reported losing over $600 million to government impersonation scams across all categories. The victims are not a random cross-section of the population. Retirees and people over 60 are disproportionately targeted, and they report significantly higher median losses than younger victims. That is not because older adults are less intelligent. It is because scammers deliberately design these schemes around the specific psychology and circumstances of people who depend on a fixed monthly benefit. The SSA Office of Inspector General receives hundreds of thousands of scam reports annually. Their most recent annual reports show that the volume keeps climbing year over year, not because awareness is failing, but because the operations running these scams are scaling their staff and technology faster than consumer education can keep pace. Understanding the scale matters because it reframes how you think about risk. This is not a niche problem that happens to unlucky people. It is a massive, organized industry targeting you specifically. And the first tool they use is something you have had in your pocket your entire life. The way these operations actually get your phone ringing is the part nobody explains clearly enough. That is what number 9 covers. Number 9. How they find you in the first place. One of the most common questions people ask is how scammers got their number. The answer is less mysterious and more unsettling than most people expect. There is an entire legal industry built around collecting and selling personal information. Companies called data brokers pull records from voter registration databases, property records, court filings, loyalty program signups, magazine subscriptions, social media activity, and dozens of other sources. They compile everything into detailed profiles and sell them to marketers, researchers, background check services, and anyone else willing to pay. You can read more about how this works at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Your name, phone number, home address, date of birth, and estimated income range are sitting in these databases right now. That information did not get there because you made a mistake. It accumulated through years of completely ordinary activity, and scammers buy it in bulk, specifically filtering for older adults with consistent fixed incomes. Beyond data brokers, your phone number can surface through a Social Security specific channel that most people are not aware of. If you have ever filled out any form that required your Social Security number, and that form ended up in a data breach, your number and your contact details may have been packaged and sold on the dark web. You can check whether your email has appeared in known breaches at Have I Been Pwned, a free tool maintained by security researcher Troy Hunt. Scammers also use autodialers that simply cycle through every phone number in an area code. When someone picks up, the system routes the call to a live agent. It is not targeted, it is just volume. They make thousands of calls a day and only need a small fraction to work. Knowing how they find you does not prevent the calls, but it does explain why receiving one of these calls does not mean you specifically did something wrong. The next question is what they actually say once they have you on the line, and that is where things get genuinely alarming. Number 8. The suspended Social Security number script. This is the most common Social Security scam script in circulation right now, and it is effective because it triggers an immediate, gut-level fear response that short-circuits rational thinking. The call goes something like this. A recorded message tells you that your social security number has been suspended due to suspicious activity. Sometimes the message says it was used in a crime in another state. Sometimes it says your account is linked to drug trafficking or money laundering investigations. The recording instructs you to press 1 immediately to speak with a Social Security Administration officer or face arrest. You press 1. A real person picks up. They sound professional and serious. They confirm the situation. They tell you that to prevent your arrest and resolve the issue, you need to verify your identity and possibly move your funds to a government-protected account while the investigation clears. The entire conversation is designed to keep you in a state of fear and urgency from start to finish. Here is the reality. The Social Security Administration cannot suspend your Social Security number. That is not a thing that exists. The SSA does not call people to threaten arrest. Law enforcement agencies do not call ahead to warn you before they arrest you, and no legitimate government agency will ever ask you to move money into a different account to protect it from fraud. The Social Security Administration's official scam warning page is extremely clear on all of this. If you ever receive a call like this, the right move is to hang up without engaging further. Do not press 1. Do not ask to speak with a supervisor. Do not try to explain that you have not done anything wrong. Just hang up. Then report the call to the FTC. The suspended Social Security number call is only one flavor of this scam. There is a variation that targets people who are not yet receiving benefits, and it works in a completely different way. That one is coming up in number 7. Number 7. The benefits enrollment trap. This version of the scam does not go after people who are already receiving benefits. It targets people who are approaching retirement age and have not yet enrolled in Social Security. And it works by offering something genuinely useful, help navigating a confusing process. Signing up for Social Security benefits involves real decisions with real consequences. When you claim matters enormously for your lifetime benefit total. Claiming at 62 versus waiting until 70 can result in a difference of hundreds of dollars per month for the rest of your life. The SSA's benefits calculator can help people run those numbers, but a lot of people find the whole thing confusing and are grateful for guidance. Scammers exploit that confusion. They advertise as Social Security enrollment assistance services, sometimes through social media ads, sometimes through mailers that look like official government correspondence. They offer to help you enroll, optimize your benefit amount, or resolve an issue with your application for a fee. Some of these services charge hundreds of dollars for help that the SSA provides completely free. The more dangerous version collects your personal information as part of the fake enrollment process. They take your Social Security number, your banking information for direct deposit setup, your date of birth, and sometimes copies of identification documents. That information is then used to file fraudulent benefit claims, redirect your future payments, or sold to other criminal operations. The rule here is straightforward. Enrolling in Social Security is free. You do it directly through the SSA. Anyone charging you a fee to enroll or claiming they can get you a higher benefit through their private service is not legitimate. The SSA does not have authorized third-party enrollment agents who charge fees for this service. Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a breakdown like this. We go deep on the scams targeting retirees every single week. There is a third enrollment-adjacent scam that specifically targets people in their first year of receiving benefits, and it is one of the hardest to spot because it impersonates something real. That is number 6. Number 6. The fake SSA letter and identity verification scam. Not every scam comes through the phone. Some of the most effective Social Security scams arrive in your mailbox because a physical letter feels inherently more official and trustworthy than a phone call. Scammers produce letters that replicate the look of official SSA correspondence with remarkable accuracy. They use the correct agency address, they replicate the formatting and font of real SSA letters, they include fake case numbers and reference codes, and they are often mailed from addresses that look vaguely official. The letters typically say that there is a problem with your Social Security account, that your benefits are being withheld pending identity verification, or that you have unclaimed funds waiting to be released. They then direct you to call a phone number, visit a website, or return a form with your personal information. The phone number connects to a scam call center. The website is a phishing page designed to capture your Social Security number and banking details. The form is a data collection tool. The SSA's official communication guide explains exactly what real SSA letters look like and what they will and will not ask you to do. Real SSA letters will not ask you to call a toll-free number to verify your identity under threat of losing benefits. They will not direct you to a third-party website. They will not ask you to provide your full Social Security number in a reply form. If you receive a letter you are not sure about, the move is to call the SSA directly at 1-800-77-21213 and ask them to confirm whether the correspondence is genuine. Do not call any number printed in the letter you received. Look up the official number independently. Physical mail scams are alarming, but the digital version of this attack is growing faster. What they are doing with email and text messages right now is something most retirees are not prepared for, and that is what we are covering in number 5. Number 5. Phishing emails, texts, and the My Social Security portal. Phishing, in case the term is unfamiliar, is when a scammer sends a message that appears to come from a trusted source and directs you to take an action that compromises your security. In the Social Security context, this typically means an email or text message that appears to come from the SSA and directs you to log into your My Social Security account to resolve an issue. The messages are increasingly convincing. They replicate the SSA's visual branding, they reference real program names like Social Security Online or My Social Security, and they create urgency by saying your account will be suspended or your payment delayed if you do not act within 48 hours. The link in the message goes to a website that looks exactly like ssa.gov, but is a fake designed to capture your username and password. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency has documented the rapid growth of government impersonation phishing campaigns in recent years. SSA-themed phishing is consistently in the top tier of government impersonation attacks. Once a scammer has your My Social Security login credentials, they can access your account and change your direct deposit banking information. Your next payment goes to them. You can read specifically about how that direct deposit redirect works in our previous breakdown on this channel. The protection here is layered. First, the SSA communicates primarily through physical mail, not email or text. Any digital message claiming to be from the SSA and asking you to click a link and log in should be treated as suspicious by default. Second, go to ssa.gov directly by typing it into your browser rather than clicking any link. Third, if you have a My Social Security account, enable two-factor authentication. And fourth, if you do not have an account yet, create one now. The SSA only allows one account per Social Security number, which means if yours is already created, a scammer cannot create a fake one in your name. Drop a comment below and tell us whether you have set up your My Social Security online account. We genuinely want to know how many people have taken that step. The phishing attacks are scary enough on their own, but there is a version of this scam that does not require you to click anything or hand over any information at all. That one is in number 4, and it is the most technically sophisticated thing on this list. Number 4. The caller ID spoofing problem. One of the reasons Social Security scam calls are so effective is that the phone number that appears on your caller ID can be made to display anything the scammer chooses. This is called caller ID spoofing, and it is a serious and widespread problem that most people do not fully understand. When your phone rings and the screen shows Social Security Administration 1-800-77-21213 or your local SSA office number, that display tells you nothing about where the call is actually coming from. The technology to spoof caller ID is inexpensive, legal in some contexts, and widely used by scam operations. A call center in another country can make your phone display the official SSA number while running a completely fraudulent operation. The FCC has published guidance on caller ID spoofing and has taken enforcement action against some operations, but the reality is that the technology is difficult to stop at scale, particularly when the operations are running from overseas. This means the caller ID on your phone is not a reliable indicator of legitimacy for incoming calls. The only reliable way to know you are actually talking to the Social Security Administration is to hang up and call the official number yourself. You look up the number independently, you dial it yourself, and then you know who you are talking to. Any call where you did not initiate the contact carries some level of uncertainty, no matter what the screen says. There is an additional tool worth knowing about. The SSA offers a service called Block Electronic Access, which prevents anyone from conducting Social Security business for your record online or by phone. It is the most restrictive protection available, useful if you have reason to believe your identity has already been compromised. Caller ID spoofing is the technical layer, but the most psychologically effective tool in the scammer's kit is not technical at all. It is much simpler, and it is the reason even careful, skeptical people get caught. That is what we are getting into in number 3. Number 3. Why these scams work on smart, careful people. A question that comes up constantly when talking about scams is some version of how does anyone fall for this? And it is worth answering carefully because the framing of the question gets it wrong. These scams do not primarily work by targeting people who are confused or uninformed. They work by exploiting predictable features of human psychology that affect everyone. The first mechanism is authority. The human brain is wired to respond differently to perceived authority figures than to ordinary people. A caller who identifies as a federal agent and speaks with confidence and procedural language triggers compliance instincts that are genuinely hard to override in the moment. Decades of research in social psychology, including the famous Milgram studies, document how reliably people defer to authority even when the instructions are unreasonable. The American Psychological Association has extensive documentation on compliance and authority in its public resources. The second mechanism is fear, telling someone that their social security number was used in a crime or that a warrant has been issued for their arrest, triggers a threat response in the brain that actively reduces the capacity for careful, analytical thinking. The part of the brain processing fear and the part doing careful, logical analysis are in competition with each other, and fear tends to win. Scammers know this, which is why they lead with threats rather than requests. The third mechanism is urgency. You must act right now. If you hang up, your case will be escalated. The window to resolve this is closing. Urgency prevents you from doing what you would naturally do if given time, which is check independently, call a family member, look things up. Scammers create artificial time pressure specifically to prevent the rational steps that would expose them. The fourth mechanism is isolation. Stay on the line. Do not tell anyone about this call. This investigation is confidential. Getting you to stay isolated prevents the single most reliable defense against scams, which is a second opinion from someone who is not under the same pressure you are in the moment. Understanding these mechanisms does not make you immune to them, but it gives you something to check yourself against. If a caller is triggering fear, urgency, and asking you to stay on the line and not tell anyone, those four things together are not a profile of a legitimate government interaction. They are a profile of a social engineering attack. The AARP Fraud Watch Network offers free resources specifically on the psychology of fraud and how to build resistance to these tactics. Now here is what to actually do when the call comes, and that is what number 2 is entirely about. Number 2, the exact steps to take when you get one of these calls. Everything we have covered up to this point is context. This section is the practical part because knowing about a scam and knowing exactly what to do in the moment are two different things. When you receive a call that claims to be from the Social Security Administration, here is the sequence. First, do not engage. You do not have to explain yourself, argue, ask questions, or prove anything. You can simply hang up. You do not owe the caller a conversation. This is harder than it sounds in practice because social conditioning makes hanging up on someone feel rude, and scammers rely on that. Give yourself explicit permission to hang up on anyone who calls claiming to be from a government agency and creating urgency or fear. Second, do not call back any number they give you or that appears in your missed calls. Call the Social Security Administration directly. Ask them whether there is actually anything on your account that needs attention. In nearly every case, there will not be. If there is a genuine issue, they will tell you and walk you through the actual process. Third, report the scam call. Submit a report. It takes about 5 minutes. Your report goes into a national database that helps the FTC identify patterns, pursue enforcement actions, and issue consumer alerts. You can also report to the SSA's Office of Inspector General directly. Neither report requires you to have lost money. Reporting an attempted scam is just as useful as reporting a completed one. Fourth, if you did provide information before you realized it was a scam, act quickly. If you gave your Social Security number, go to identitytheft.gov, which is the FTC's dedicated identity theft recovery resource. It will walk you through a customized recovery plan based on what information was compromised. If you gave banking information, call your bank immediately and ask them to flag the account for monitoring and potentially issue new account numbers. Fifth, if you sent money, whether by wire transfer, gift card, or any other method, contact your bank or the gift card company immediately. The FTC's Money Transfer Guide explains what recovery options exist, though the honest reality is that money sent through these methods is very difficult to recover. Speed is everything. The sooner you report, the better the odds. Finally, tell someone. Tell a family member. Tell a neighbor. Not because you need to be embarrassed about it, but because word of mouth is one of the most effective ways these scams get exposed in communities. If you got the call, there is a good chance someone who knows you also got it or is about to. Sharing the warning is genuinely useful. Share this video with someone who needs to see it right now. This is exactly the kind of content that protects people, but only if it reaches them. Number 1. The protective steps to take before the scam reaches you. Prevention is always better than recovery, and there are specific, concrete steps that meaningfully reduce your exposure to these scams. This is the most important section on the list because these are actions you can take today before any of this happens to you. The single most impactful step is creating your My Social Security account if you have not already. The SSA only allows one account per Social Security number, so if yours exists, a scammer cannot create a fake one using your information to access or modify your benefits. If you have already created your account, log in periodically to confirm that your direct deposit information and contact details are still correct. The second step is requesting a direct deposit change block. You can contact the SSA at 1-800-772-1213 and ask them to add a flag to your account that requires any changes to your direct deposit banking information to be made in person at an SSA office with photo identification. This closes the most commonly used door in direct deposit redirect fraud. A scammer cannot walk into your local SSA office. This one step alone eliminates the most financially devastating outcome from this category of scam. The third step is placing a credit freeze at all 3 major bureaus. If someone gets your Social Security number and tries to open credit accounts in your name, a freeze stops it. You can do this for free at Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. A freeze does not affect your existing credit or your ability to use current accounts. It simply prevents new credit from being opened. You can temporarily lift it when you genuinely need to. The fourth step is reducing your data broker footprint. Services like DeleteMe submit ongoing opt-out requests to major data broker databases on your behalf. This does not eliminate your presence entirely, but it reduces the quality and completeness of information available to anyone trying to compile a profile of you for fraudulent purposes. The fifth step is setting up fraud alerts or credit monitoring. The major bureaus offer free fraud alert services that notify you when someone applies for credit in your name. The FTC also offers free tools that can help you set up monitoring and respond quickly if something appears. The sixth step is the simplest and the one most people skip. Have one direct conversation with the people in your life about what a Social Security scam call sounds like. Not a lecture, just a clear explanation of what the calls say, why they are effective, and what to do when one comes in. The AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline offers free guidance and can help you have that conversation with family members who might be skeptical. The seventh step is trusting your instincts when something feels off. If a call makes you feel afraid, rushed, or pressured to do something right now without telling anyone, those feelings are information. They are not signs that the situation is real. They are signs that you are in the middle of a social engineering attempt. The scam depends on you ignoring those feelings and complying anyway. You do not have to. Social Security benefits exist because you earned them. Every dollar sitting in that monthly payment represents work you did and contributions you made. No scammer is entitled to any of it, and with the right preparation, they are not going to get it. That is the Social Security scam landscape laid out completely. Share this with every retiree you know because this information is genuinely protective. Click the video on your left where we break down the direct deposit fraud hitting Social Security recipients right now and the exact steps to lock your account down today. I will see you there.